Hey, we're live. Boom.
Wow.
All right, Dan. I'll see you later, brother.
See you later.
LabCoat Nation. Welcome to the show. We are talking to what's become a pretty good friend of mine, I might say. It's Steve Heroux, who was at LabCoat Live in San Diego. We were recently sharing the stage in Atlanta together, where Steve was talking about slang the iBuyer, as Sheree Benjamin put it. And today we're going to talk about selling to the 4 buyer types. So Steve is with a company called Victory Selling, where you don't coach, right? What do you do?
No, it's more of, the best way I can put it is more of, I love sales training, but I think of myself more as an instructor. So if you think about a golf instructor, a tennis instructor, something along those lines.
Awesome.
Thanks,
awesome.
buddy.
And you were recently on the LabCoat Agents podcast, where we talked about kind of the art of selling. And Steve drops all kinds of knowledge on this topic to us real estate professionals, because frankly, a lot of us get into the business with zero selling background. So let's dive in and let's talk about the 4 buyer types. Steve, come on, let's wrap.
And by the way, y'all, coming to you live from the Coldwell Banker office closet in Samara, Costa Rica.
Oh yeah. By the way, yes. Steve lives in Costa Rica. Usually when we do these interviews, this backdrop is the ocean with palm trees and, you know, the occasional parrot and monkey flying around or climbing around. But today we have the pleasure of talking to you in a closet.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
So sorry to disappoint. But, we'll be posting pictures of this up on Facebook. But it was funny. I was thinking about our conversation and even to kind of lead into this topic of being an instructor, you know, versus a coach. I think it's so important to understand, and you don't have to necessarily understand golf terms to learn kind of what I'm about to say, but in terms of sales, I think most people, realtors, lenders, doesn't matter what you are as a salesperson, I think they're about a 35 handicap. And if you know anything about golf,
that's not good.
Particularly good. The problem is you have a bunch of people that just play golf on the weekends, i.e. just go to weekend events and think they're going to be Tiger Woods, right? Sorry, it doesn't work that way. If you want to get better at golf, you start taking lessons from an instructor, like Golf Tech. When I used to play golf and was decent at golf, I was probably a 12 or 14 handicap, which is not so bad, having never taken a lesson. I started taking lessons. It cost me $2 or $3 grand to go to Golf Tech, but I got down to a 3. So I invested in an instructor to teach me what to do. What I didn't do is I didn't hire a coach. And that's the difference. And that's what I see happening. And believe me, I have a coach, but I needed to learn how to sell first. And that's what I keep seeing in the industry. Is like these people are brand new into the industry and they hire a coach. They don't even know the basics of how to send an email, how to follow up, how to interact, how to do a sales presentation, how to ask for referrals. So I really think that understanding sales is about getting instruction first so you can have the basics and fundamentals. Then you have a coach to take you to the next level. And again, it's different for everybody. The top 6% of salespeople need no help. I mean, they're just talented. They got it. But that's 6%. The other 94% of us needed help. We needed to learn. We needed the basics. And so I think everything we talk about today has to come from a point of learning the fundamentals about selling, and then you can take it to the next level. You probably saw the post, Jeff, I put a couple days ago, the question about leads, right? What are all of you guys spending on lead generation? And there was a huge amount of disparity, a bunch of 0, 0, 0, all referrals, a bunch of, we spend $1,000 a month, 2,000, somebody spends 10,000 a month. And the ROI was maybe, 3x to like 15 or 20, I would say, which is pretty high. But you think about how many people that don't spend money on leads that are doing 50, 100 deals because they've mastered the art of selling. They've mastered how to nurture, follow up, get referrals. But the rest of the population, the other 90%, doesn't know any of that stuff. So they keep spending money on leads, and it's like putting water into a bucket with empty holes. You can keep getting all the leads you want, but if you don't know how to close them, what does it matter? And we're talking thousands and thousands a year incessantly. Whereas what I really do is help people through, like my course, what I do for $2,000 one time, right? And you learn the basics, the fundamentals. The ROI on becoming a top 10%er in sales is a hell of a lot more than 3 or 5 times, right? When you learn what works. And sales is sales, y'all. I don't care if you're a realtor, in title, an escrow, a lender, you are a salesperson, whether you like it or not. And there's no other industry, literally none in the world, professionally, where people get next to zero training, next to zero instruction, and start making 100, 200, 300 grand right off the bat. Doctors don't work like that. It's 8 to 12 years if you want to become a physician, and it's $500,000 invested, $500,000, 8 to 12 years. Then you start making 6 figures. And just so you all know, the median salary for a doctor is $187. So 10 years of study, 500 grand invested, you now make 187.
That's fascinating.
But people in our industry in real estate seem to think, well, I got my license, where's my 200 grand? I went to the event, where's my money? Like, it doesn't work like that.
Right. Well, let me digress for a second. So that's a really good lead in, and clearly you're an authority on this topic. You're an authority on sales, but who the hell is Steve Heroux?
Yeah.
Like, why are you the authority? What is your background? Tell the audience who doesn't know who you are, kind of why you have become this authority.
Sure. And by the way, I'm not an authority, but I appreciate that.
I would
argue
that
tells you they are is full of crap. So does the way that I teach work for everybody? No. Everybody's style is not good for everybody. It's important to understand that you have to find the person that you want to be like, emulate, learn from. And that's the biggest part when it comes to finding a trainer, a mentor, an instructor. It's not always the man or woman with the biggest bank account. And until y'all realize that, you're going to struggle, because I can show you gazillionaires who have horrible family lives, don't see their kids anymore, divorced 3 times. Oh, but they're rich, right? Then I can show you people that make 80 or 90,000 a year, have the best life in the world. Their kids love them, their wives and spouses love them, and they have a great life. So it's really not about the my way or the highway thing, which we kind of see a lot, in this industry, follow my system, follow my training. But what I want to share with y'all is I don't believe I'm the authority. I believe a lot of the things and strategies I use work pretty good, but that's only because I copied other successful people. And we've all heard of Picasso. Good artists copy, great artists steal. And that's what I built my course on. The course that I offer people isn't Steve Heroux, do it or fail. I talk to hundreds of 6- and 7-figure salespeople in hundreds of industries, probably dozens officially, about what they do every day in 2019. So I surveyed, I interviewed them, I talked to them about their follow-up strategies, their social media platforms, their email campaigns, their public speaking, their networking ability, what they do in a day, right, in their environment. And I basically took their best practices, kind of like if you could amass an all-star team of salespeople, men and women, and I teach what they do. So it's not Steve's way or the highway, it's all these hundreds of people who are in the top 10% of salespeople, and this is what they do every day. Pick what you like, use it. Pick what you don't like, use that. And that's really what I would suggest people do. It's never about swing like me, right? Like in golf, you can never watch one person and go, oh, just swing like that guy, right? Or in tennis, well, just swing like Serena hits her forehand. It's easier said than done. But you've got to do the strategies and the disciplines, and That's what matters, especially in the industry of real estate. I think a lot of people get tied up in, oh, well, Steve's never sold a home. What does he know? Or so-and-so's never sold a car. Why should they teach me how to sell cars? It's irrelevant. It's all discipline and habits. That is what makes a successful realtor. Everybody and their mom is doing video now, which you know. But just doing a good video in and of itself, that doesn't mean you're going to be a top producer. You still have to close the deal. You still have to nurture relationships. You still have to be efficient at the sales process. You can keep getting leads all you want, but it's all the daily strategies and processes and tools that matter. And there's a couple 7-figure men and women I interviewed that their stuff's in the course. There's a bunch of 6-figure ones, but the goal, I think, Jeff, for me and what my passion is to help people get to 6 figures and maintain that. Only 12% of salespeople make 6 figures. People think like it's half or something. It's 12%. So any can have a good year, but talk to me when you have a good decade. That's what matters, right? We get a lot of people that are one-hit wonders or have an amazing year, but can you follow it up, right? Can you be consistent and generate that 6-figure income for you and your family every single year? You don't have to make $1 million. That wherever this crap comes from, I don't know, but we see it a lot on social media. That's not necessary. Where most of us live, 6 figures is a good income. Where I used to live in San Diego, you can basically live in a garage, right? If you make 6 figures. And in San Francisco and in San Jose, you can live in your car if you make $100,000. But it's the processes and strategies that matter. And that's why I love talking about the 4 buyer behaviors, because this is straight up strategy on learning psychology of selling.
So before we get into that, and somebody just asked, we're going to get into this, is you had mentioned on a text before we got on here, you keep mentioning golf, but you mentioned, hey, remind me to talk about the sales handicap. Well, golf terms. So let's explain what you're talking about there.
So if a handicap in golf, if I'm a 30 handicap, that means I shoot 30 strokes more than I'm supposed to. And most of the golfers, I would say 90% of golfers are sort of in that range, because they never get instruction. They just keep buying new clubs, i.e., I'll go to this event, I'll hire this coach. It's the coach, it's the event, it's the clubs. No, it's you. And so until people invest in how to swing a golf club and get their handicap down to a 10, which means they're now 3 times better than they were before they learned how to actually swing from a professional. But it's going to cost money to do that, which again is why most weekend golfers, i.e. most salespeople, will never, ever improve, because all they're hoping for is that magically this weekend I'll shoot better, right? It's similar to tennis. If I've never swung a tennis racket, I'm not going to hire a coach to teach me how to play tennis. I'm going to hire a tennis instructor so I can take lessons, like piano, same type of thing. I don't hire a professional coach. I hire a piano teacher so I can take lessons for $50 an hour. Then I want to take it to another level. And that's where I think the handicap makes sense, because so many people just rely on hope and just hoping next weekend will be better. Oh, next year will be better. I'm not going to change me, but I'll hire this guy, this gal, or do this. And it's always shiny objects, as we all know, kind of in this industry. And
it's not going to happen, in other words, unless they invest in their business. So everybody who's here today, we've got some listeners who are actually or participants or panelists on the call, but we've also got a bunch of people on Facebook. They're here to hear, what are the 4 buyer types? So let's dive in.
Yeah, I'd love to. So the cardinal mistake, I think, Jeff, of most salespeople is they sell the way that they buy. In other words, have you ever tried to convince somebody of a band that you like and that people hate? I mean, this happens a lot with Nickelback or, bands like that.
Beastie Boys. I argue with my wife all the time.
You like them, she hates them?
Correct.
So you could talk to your blue in the face about how great Beastie Boys are. She's not going to change your opinion.
That's correct.
Same thing with me. Like, I only hate a few things in life, okay? Olives and the Yankees. And that's, pretty much it, right? So, but I love lobster. And here's the comparison of the 4 buyer types. I love lobster, but I'm not going to shove lobster into people's faces, telling them like it, because I like it. This is how most people sell. And in terms of, let's say we're showing a home, this is what happens. Most realtors are pointing out the stuff that they like, what they think is good, what they believe is a great value, what they feel they should see. But that's not what the buyer wants. And that is the cardinal mistake of salespeople, is they sell based on the attributes and the things that they like. And when I bought my last house in San Diego, my realtor, who will remain nameless, let's call him Bob, bought every friggin' house we would go to, he would talk about the pool. Okay, like, dude, wait to see this pool. This one has a pool. I told him 5 times, dude, I don't care about a pool. Like, it's not, I don't care. He kept saying pool. The final house we looked at, I physically grabbed him by the shirt. I go, dude, enough with the effing pools. You like pools. I don't like pools. Like, do you understand that? But this is what happens with most salespeople, is they just keep talking about the stuff they love. What an amazing backyard this has. What an amazing kitchen. But they don't realize that the couple barely cooks, right? Because they haven't taken the time to get to know the person. So that's kind of the basis of the 4 buyer behaviors. And I figured the easiest way to kind of identify the buyer behaviors is through animals, because we all like animals, and it's like National Doggy Day today. So happy Doggy Day to all the dog lovers out there. But the first animal type is the lion or the lioness. And the lion or the lioness is the A personality. These are the go-getters. These are the Mark Cubans, the Beyoncés, the Serena Williams, right? The Tiger Woods. These are the folks that are driven by competition and wanting to be the best.
The Tristan Ahumadas.
Tristan, yeah. When you're showing a home to a lion or lioness, you have to show the home a certain way. In other words, let's say their range is 600 to 700,000. That's their range they want to look at. I would only show them homes probably between 675 and 750. Highest end of their range and over. Why? Because lions and lionesses buy on stature. They buy through ego, and they want the best of the best. And they justify it by saying, well, I deserve this. I know our range is 700. I can do 740. I'll sell more cars. I'll do whatever it takes, right? But these folks also want everybody. They want the biggest and the best of everything, right? They want to make the neighbors jealous. So when you're showing homes to lions and lionesses, you want to show them homes that have specific characteristics that no other home has. And it doesn't even have to be, it could be an apple tree, it could be a trellis. It doesn't really matter. But you've got to point that out to them and say, hey, Jeff, this is the only house on the block with an apple tree. They want it because they're the only ones that have it. This is how they buy. Remember, these are the folks that are buying Louis Vuitton and Gucci and all these different name brands because they buy on stature and ego. So they'll buy the biggest house on the block, even if it's not the highest priced home you showed them, because of stature. And that's how they buy.
So if you are not a good reader of personalities, and I might be getting out of ourselves a little bit, but how do you identify? How do you identify who the lion and lionesses are?
Yeah, it'll take you maybe 10 seconds. So how they dress. So lions and lionesses dress sharp all the time. You can look at their watches. You can look at their shoes. You can look at their belts. You can look at their cars. You can look at their purses. You can pretty much take a guess, right, that they're a lion or lioness based on how they dress. how they carry themselves. And I know this isn't really what we're talking about today, but how they shake hands, okay? The majority of people have no idea how to shake a hand properly. I mean, none. And we're in sales and most of us don't know how to do it. But you know a lion or lioness from that firm handshake, you know they mean business without them even having to say a word. So those are the characteristics just visually you can see right away. But when you start talking to people, you'll know in a couple of minutes what type of personality type they are. These are the 8 type personalities, and we all know how to identify those. So it's actually relatively simple.
Awesome. Let's move on to the next one.
So next one's the elephant. The elephant is the most caring, empathetic creature in the animal kingdom. You see these amazing pictures of elephants. Like the best, I think, a National Geographic one I saw was an elephant carrying a lion cub across a river because the mom was trying to cross the river but couldn't carry the lion cub across, even though they kill elephants, right? So the elephant is the one that's the giver. These are the folks that are running the PTA, running the HOAs. These are the folks that love to have their parents-in-law, their grandkids, right, over. They volunteer a lot. They are the peace lovers, right? These are the folks that love animals and give back, very environmentally conscious. So these are the folks that'll give you the shirt off their back, offer you a ride to the airport without asking for gas money, where the lion is the one that says, oh yeah, dude, I'll take you to the airport. Just Venmo me $20. So that's the elephant. And the way the elephants look at homes is completely different than the way a lion or lioness looks at homes. So for example, let's say there's 4 bedrooms. An elephant is thinking, which one of these bedrooms can I set up for my grandkids? Which one of these places can my mother-in-law come and do her thing? That's what you actually talk about when you're showing the home. Who gives a crap how many square feet the bedroom? They don't care about that. They want to know, how can I help and who can I have over to help? It's literally the way they look at things. Typically, they're not really price driven. They're more like value driven. Where can I put the garden? What type of solar, right, can we put in? Is it energy efficient lighting? All those things are what the elephants care about. Whereas the lion doesn't give a crap about the environment most of the time, right? Can I run this hot tub 24/7? I mean, that's kind of the mentality. So again, when you're selling to an elephant, you've got to talk about the things that you do to give back. What charities do you donate to? What organization are you a part of? Where do you volunteer your time? Because that's what they do, and that's why they'll relate to you. Very important with the elephants, again. And you guys can see, if you sell to an elephant the way you sell to a lion, it ain't happening. You with me? The lion or lioness, they're the ones that buy the Ferraris, the Mercedes, all these kind of cars. An elephant would never do that. The elephant is driving the Prius or the Tesla.
Or the minivan.
Or the minivan, right? Listen, they could have 10 million in the bank still buying a minivan. So that's the difference between the elephants. And typically, again, the grandmotherly right, personality of an elephant. So just think like that, right? They think like your grandma.
Love it. Love it. So we've got lions and elephants. Where are we going next? So otter's the third one. And I was coming up with these animals. I'm like, what animal just seems to have a blast? I mean, 24/7, and that's an otter. Every time you see them, they're swimming on their backs. They're playing catch, with a crab, right? I mean, it's like they just have a ball, right, all the time. They're the life of the party. So the otters are the ones that are the loudest. They dress in bright colors. They love to entertain. And typically, they're the ones that greet you with a huge smile, a hug. They're very vivacious, right? Very in your face sometimes.
but they just like to have a good time. And so if you think about what would an otter see in a home, the otters are the partiers. So remember this. The otters want to know, what parts of the home can I entertain in? So if I were showing somebody a house like an otter, maybe we're looking at the kitchen countertop, I wouldn't say that it's granite. I would say, do you know how many margaritas you can line up on this thing? When we go look at the hot tub, we talk about how many people you think we can fit in there for your housewarming party. And then they take it and run. They're like, they'll get in the damn thing and go, oh, we could fit 8 in here easy. These are the folks you talk about the backyard and how many, block parties they can have, right? You talk about the game rooms, right? The man caves, right? The she sheds, all these types of things. This is what the otters love. And the best thing I could give you guys, if you take anything from this call, and with otters, it's so easy with them. Here's what I would do. If I knew, because again, I know my clients, so I know they're an otter. If I was going to show an otter a home at 12 o'clock, at 11 o'clock, I would be in that neighborhood and I would knock on every door within a quarter of a mile until I found another otter. And most likely you'll find one, because it's 1 out of 4, right? So you'll find one on the street. When you meet the otter and you say, hey, Jeff, I'm so sorry to bother you, but my name's Steve Heroux. I'm going to be showing that house over there at 1461. Can you give me a little feedback about the neighborhood and what it's like to live here? What do you think the otter's going to say?
I think they're going to welcome them in and they're going to be like, oh my God, let me show you.
Yes. So they want, who do they want in that house? What do you think? Another what?
Another otter.
Another otter. So like, oh my God, you're going to show the house. I hope we get a new neighbor. We've been looking for somebody for the poker game or the bakes or whatever. And then you say, hey, listen, Jeff, I know it might be intrusive, but would it all be possible if you're home in like 45 minutes? Can I bring, Jeff and Suzanne by to meet you? Would that be okay? What do you think they say?
Absolutely. And they probably got margaritas. They got margaritas lined up on the counter.
Yes. So when you show up at 11:45 with Jeff and Susie, the door opens. Who's there to greet them to the neighborhood, right? You don't even see the house at 12 because you're still drinking or eating with them. So now they already have been made to feel like they're part of the neighborhood. They haven't even seen the damn house. So this is how otters buy. It's irrelevant almost with them because they'd rather be in an amazing neighborhood than have an amazing home. Whereas the lion or lioness couldn't give 2 craps about the neighbors because I got the best house. Mm-hmm. See the difference?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So let's equate this. So I think when you're talking the language of personalities, everybody probably knows DISC, right? And that's kind of what we're talking about here, but we're talking about how to sell to DISC. And so the lion is the D, the otter is the I, the elephant, if I'm not mistaken, is the C. So then we're missing the S here. We're missing the analytical person, I assume. What animal is that?
That's the last one. So that's the owl. So we all, again, think about the owl, right, as the wise one, the thinker. But the owl's, again, completely different than the other 4 because the owl is the one that needs every damn piece of information about everything. And with the owls, you think about walking into a home, right? So you walk into a home, let's say it's just got a really great feel to it. An otter walks into the home, looks around and goes, this is it. This is it. I love this. But the owl will walk into the home and look up and go, that doesn't look like 12 by 12. That looks like 12 by 11. You got a measuring tape? It's the buy completely different. So a lot of people say, I'm not a numbers guy, right? I don't like math. I don't like numbers. You don't have to, but they do. They love numbers. So you better know your damn numbers about the house, the comps, all that stuff when you're talking to an otter. You don't have to like it. You just have to know it, right? Kind of like in high school, right? With tests, I never really learned any of the information. I just memorized enough to pass the test. That's kind of how you have to be with an owl. you don't want to fake that you love numbers, right? You just need to be exact. And they want the exact numbers. They want to know the square footage of that bathroom. They want to know the cubic feet of the pool. I mean, they want to know how many sockets are in the garage. I mean, this is how owls buy. But you have to understand that maybe you, again, are an otter. For example, maybe you walked into your house and said, oh my God, this is it. And the realtor, maybe who sold it to you, said, well, would you like to see the comps? And you're like, no, this is my. Whereas an owl, they won't let themselves make that decision until they see comps. And so if an owl says, hey, can you send me the comps from, a mile area? You should send them comps from a 500 square mile area. Send them everything you have, and then they'll probably ask you for more. But you have to understand that owls do not buy right away. They're very slow to make decisions. They're very analytical.
Calculated.
Pull the trigger, right? Until they've done the research, right? And they know that the math works out, right? This works out. If I sell in 20 years and my home grows by 7% a year, it's just the way that they think. So you got to remember, if you're a lion and you sell like a lion, the owl is disinterested in you. Very important to understand that. And one of the things I always say to owls in my business, or even if, let's put it in the frame of real estate, if we were going to look at homes with an owl, I'd say, hey, listen, Jeff, let me just let you know, in no way are we going to be writing any offers today. All I want to do is get a feel for the type of houses you like, what you're looking for exactly to a T. If we want to look at more houses next weekend, I'm happy to do it. But I just want to let you know, we're not going to be doing any of that stuff, okay? The owl immediately lets their defenses down because every other person has tried to sell them, and that's not how they react. So when you let them know, hey, listen, we're not even going to go there, it just gives them a breath of fresh air, and they know, okay, I don't have any pressure. I can take all my notes on every single house, right? On every MLS listing, that's just the way they are. And if you treat them with respect and you understand that they ain't buying the first house you show them, they might buy number 27, but guess what? They're super loyal. They'll be your customer for life. They'll refer you other owls, right? And so you have to understand you've got to be more patient with an owl than you do with any of the other three.
I love this, man. This comes down to lions, elephants, otters, and owls. But understanding your client's personality is critical because you're right. If you can empathize and be like them during the process, listing or buying, they're going to relate to you. You're going to be more authentic, and they're going to be attracted to you, and they're going to want to work with you. But I think there's a big question here that I assume somebody's probably thinking, because I'm thinking it, is, all right, I don't get to meet my clients in person before I go show them a house, before I go to a listing presentation. So how am I supposed to know this about them from a phone call? Do you have any ideas on that?
I could even let you answer that. We only texted really, and you knew we would get along based on my personality, just from my language. So I think that we have to be, again, paying attention to what people say and how they write. Many of you have seen emails, even let's just say it was from the other realtor in the transaction, or a lender or title or whatever. You can read in the email and you can see what type of personality these people have. But it's more important, not just the personality, because people have done that till the end of time, but it's how these folks physically buy, right? How do they make decisions? That's the stuff we really need to learn. And once you know that, you can sell to those. And so we have to be a completely different animal, which you'd probably guess this one, but it's an animal that pretty much can adapt to any situation. And so it was going to be one of two, because there's two animals, octopus or chameleon. So I went with chameleon because it's cuter, but you understand both animals, they don't change their internal organs, their skeleton. They don't change that. They are malleable, right? And they change their appearance, right, for different environments. But with us in sales, I'm not saying change your personality. I'm not saying be fake. I'm not saying be phony. I'm saying change your language and your actions. If you change your language and your actions to match those of that animal type, your chances of success are hugely increased. And overall, if you looked at the average closing percentage, right, in sales from any industry, it's roughly 20%, maybe 25. Why is that? That's 1 out of 4, roughly. That's because lions are only good at selling to lions. Otters only good at selling to otters. You're 1 out of 4. So until you become the chameleon with your language and your actions, you're gonna just get the layups, right? Anybody can sell to somebody that's exactly like them. I mean, that's not even a challenge. But can you sell to somebody who's the total opposite of you? That's when you know you're in the top 6%. Because the top 6% of salespeople get this, right? They're just studs and studettes. They understand all of this. They get it. But it's the other 94 that don't want to change. They don't want to adapt. So I hope that makes sense. But that's really more about how they physically buy, not just what they're like at a party, right? Because who cares what somebody's personality profile is? You're not going to drinks with them. How are they going to physically make a decision for the biggest purchase of their life? And that's what matters. We have to invest, again, in the lessons, right, to learn how to hit the ball the right way before we ever take that next step. And this is a small one. It's pretty simple. You just have to practice it so you can start seeing people. And some of you will probably do this today when you pick your kids up from school or you go into CVS and you see the cashier and you're like, she's an otter. You tell them right away, right? So when you start practicing your daily life, it's going to be a lot easier. And you can do this in anything, guys. It doesn't matter. Your servers at the restaurant, your lending partners, right? It doesn't matter who it is. You really have to understand how these people buy, how they build relationships, that type of thing, right? What they're looking for, and you deliver that.
This goes back to Sales 101, and you mentioned in the beginning, which is as a salesperson, listen and ask questions. Like, nothing annoys me more. And I use this example when somebody walks to my office door, walks in, they know my kid's been sick and they say, how's your kid doing? How's she feeling today? And before I can even spit out 3 words, they interrupt me and tell me about how their kid had the same thing. It's like, shut up. You asked me the damn question.
Yeah. Those are the one-uppers.
It's like, come on, you get to know your client by asking a lot of questions. And here's another thing. People love to talk about themselves. So if you ask those questions, if you just show interest in them, you're going to find out which animal they are, which DISC they are, what personalities.
Get this one, Jeff. Who loves to talk about themselves? Out of the 4, right? Which 2 are the ones that talk about themselves the most, right?
Oh, lions and otters.
An otter. Mm-hmm. So here's another thing. I see this happen, and listen, you guys run your businesses however you like. If it were me, I would never do the same listing presentation. Like, it's just, to me, it's insane. Why would I do exactly the same listing presentation to every single person, knowing they buy in 4 different ways? It's like if you're a pitcher and you just throw fastballs right down the middle every time. Like, yeah, a couple people will miss, but it's not good. You got to mix it up. And so that's the part most salespeople don't understand, because they've been taught, I got to do this listing print. I got to do the script. I got to do, it's a system. Wrong. It's not. You have to be intuitive, and you have to change what you say based on who's in front of you. And once people grasp that, they see a totally different set of results.
Yeah.
It's science, right?
Let's clarify that. It's the same value proposition that you're bringing to your listing presentation, but the way you cater it, the way you talk to your people. And I'm going to show a book here. So hold on with me real quick. Just keep talking.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. No, that's what it's about. It's about delivering value so they can buy better, right? It's not delivering the same exact value, the same exact way every time. It's putting it on the tee so they can hit it the way they want, not you telling them how to hit it.
Exactly. And I wanted to share this. So, and this has got nothing to do with Steve. It's got nothing to do with LabCoat Agents, but this is a book that I read years ago. I've read it a couple of times. It's called Navigate 2.0. And it basically is, it's
even
selling.
The title. That's exactly right.
Selling the way people like to buy. Yeah, it's totally, and the entire book explains those four people, exactly how you described it, except they use different terms. Yep. And the whole book is about how does a lion sell to an otter? How does a lion sell to an owl? How does an owl sell to a lion? And it flips the script every single scenario it gives you. This is a really good book. I'm sure there's other ones out there, but
I'm sure.
This is one that I like.
There's other, listen, I'm not the first guy, right? There's probably other colors or tree types or flower. I mean, it's all trying to gear it towards what makes it easier for you to relate to people, but more importantly, to allow them to buy from you. You mentioned the ABC bullshit, bullcrap, right? Always be closing is garbage, okay? Listen, that came out in 1992, all right? We don't use beepers or VCRs for a reason, okay? Just like we don't use that garbage. But I put a post up on LinkedIn maybe like a year ago, and I said, ABC, I think not. What the hell are we doing, right? It had 170,000 views. Like 4,000 people in Sydney, Australia, right, know who I am for some reason. But what was funny is I got so many messages on LinkedIn like, can you please talk to my broker? Can you please talk to my boss? A bunch of them, can you please talk to my husband? But one of the guys said, hey, you train salespeople. So what's the one skill, right? Would it be closing? Would it be follow-up? What would the most important skill a salesperson should have? And what I said to him was, it's the ability for you to have your clients ask you, how do we move forward, Jeff? Great. When can we look at houses? Awesome. When can I get my house on the market? Cool. When can I give you a deal? That is when you know you got it. But we've been trained for decades about you need a closing question and all this crap that is not true. People don't buy from you because you ask them some dumbass manipulative question. Hey, Jeff, so would there be any reason we wouldn't move forward today? Yeah, you asshole, right? I'm sorry, but sales isn't about manipulation, guys. And once you understand that, it's about psychology and science, you'll do so much better. You just have to put some time in to learn how to do it. Then you get the benefit the rest of your life.
Sure. It's about relationships. And you're right. I don't think a lot of leaders and brokers teach this. And even though I've read it and I'm a leader, I probably don't preach it enough. And this is basic stuff. If there's anybody on this call that doesn't know about disc profiles, doesn't know about the animal analogies, doesn't know about, this book or another book that talks about the personality types, you're selling your business short. I mean, I don't care how advanced you are, because this has been great for me, because it reminds me I need to be more cognizant of how I talk to people when I'm recruiting, or how I talk to employees, or my wife, everybody. I mean, this is like life. Yeah, totally. 100%.
And if we always come from a place of integrity and honesty and humility, that's what people are attracted by. Listen, if you're the closer and you like your $2,000 suits and $120,000 car, great, right? You're going to relate to those types, but pretty much just those types. So we have to be cognizant of that, is that we're not like everybody. Everybody's not like us. Not everybody's going to be your client. Not everybody's going to like you. It's just the way that it is. And once we understand that, and we start to look at other people who we like, what they're doing in their lives, it isn't necessarily like how much money they make. That was the point of why I built this course. It was almost like selfish, because I wanted to find out what other people were doing so I can improve my business. Oh, and actually the whole basis for this book was a lender. So I was talking to this guy. I said, hey man, I gotta, let's get together. He goes, I gotta call you back. I gotta do something. And he told me what he was doing for a client that he lost, that he didn't even get. And I was like, wait a second. You're doing that for someone that isn't your client? I go, how long have you been doing that? He goes, 20 years. I said, how much business do you think you got from that? He goes, millions and millions in loans just from this. I'm like,
what was he doing?
It's in the course. No, I'm just kidding. What he was doing was he was sending gift cards, right, to people who didn't close a loan with him. Just thank you so much, right? Not angry, not condescending, not, hey, when your loan falls apart with so-and-so, you'll come back. No, like super friendly, super happy, super down to earth, thankful. He's gotten so many referrals from people who never even did a loan with him. And then they come back and do their next loan with him or their refi or whatever.
Sure.
And I was like shocked that I'd never heard of another person doing that. And that kind of led me to finding out, well, hell, I've been in sales successfully 22 years. I never did that. What else don't I know? So it came from a place of, let me find out what the heck I can do. And so that's why I built the course. And, I really believe in what I do, but we see so much out there, right, of how expensive it is, right, for leads and for coaching, all this stuff, right, tens of thousands of dollars. So I'm like, listen, I can't make this course like nothing or there'd be no value. But if I teach somebody these things and it costs them $2,000, but now they learn how to sell like for the next 30 years, that's pretty light, right? Compared to people that stand in line for an iPhone that they just got 6 months ago to pay for another $1,200 phone, right? That isn't going to improve their life, right? You have kids in college or going to college. It's friggin' 139 grand now, median, 139, okay? For private school, 139.
Shut up.
We don't think twice, and we keep piling on the 1.3 trillion in debt. And 1 out of 7 people right now is doing what they went to college for. 1 out of 7. And we're dropping 6 figures.
Yeah, well, everybody watching did not, yep. I would argue not one person went to school for real estating.
Did I go to school for sales training? No, but my college was 50 grand a year because I thought that's what I should do.
Sure. Yeah.
And so that's why I feel like, for what I'm teaching people, I think it's beyond fair. And there's no long-term contract, a year. It's just, listen, this is how these other people are doing it. And if you don't like it, hey, argue with the 300 people I talk to, right? It's not Steve's way. Sure. But that's why I love doing what I do, because if people go through it and they don't like it, here's all your money back. I'm not going to keep it, right? So it's so important to share like the ideologies of what sales is really like. And it's funny you put that book up there. So I'm giving you my shameless plug because you don't even know, but my book's supposed to have been coming out for like a year now, but it's finally coming out. And when I was looking for a title, there's 1 million titles. But what I decided on was sales is not a dirty word. And so many people still today feel that we are dirty or shady or whatever. And a lot of the things y'all see on social media certainly doesn't dispel that myth, right? Look at my Bentley. I'm in my private plane. Gee, I wonder why people think salespeople are jerks, right? So you can be an honest and humble and professional and down to earth and friendly salesperson and be super successful in it. But this is the stuff that these top producers are doing, right? It's not about closing. It's about connecting with people.
Sure. By the way, there is a psychology to that, and I agree with you because I don't like it either, but there is a psychology to the fancy cars and the airplanes and the fancy suits.
Well, we see it on LCA. You see people ask all the time, what kind of car should I drive, right? You think Warren Buffett gives a crap that...
He does it, but there are some that do. I mean, I wouldn't say there's a right or wrong way, just my opinion. I don't resonate with it myself, but I know what
even if you do, it's okay because some people will relate to you.
Yeah.
But some people won't. So it's the same for people that drive a Taurus or drive a Mercedes or a Ferrari or a quad like I drive.
Does a Taurus still exist?
I don't know. Do they?
I don't think so.
I think there's like 50 million on the road. But a good point you brought up is you shouldn't care what people think. If you want to drive a Mercedes, drive one.
Sure.
If you want to drive a Prius, drive one. It doesn't describe who you are as a person because of what you drive.
Sure.
Remember, you'll relate to 1/4 of people no matter what. We're going to go, dude, I have the same Prius, or dude, I have the 535. Why did you get? So just understand you're never going to please everybody all the time. So doesn't matter what you wear, doesn't matter what car you drive, just be an honest, humble person that lives with integrity, and you're going to be able to rest your head on the pillow.
Yeah. Know your audience, cater to the audience that you want, and don't worry about what everybody else thinks. I think that is the right way to say it. Awesome. Well, I've got, let's wrap this up. We're going an hour. So two things. Number one, everybody's been thinking this throughout this entire conversation. What animal am I? So I'm going to ask you, what animal am I?
So I'll even go one more than that. We're typically a combination of the animals, but primarily one, and then secondarily another one.
Okay.
And you can change. And I'm telling you this from personal experience. I was straight up lion. I mean, like, had the Mercedes, had the huge houses, all that kind of stuff. And it hit me one day, like, that doesn't make me happy. That's not me. So I then, again, kind of changed the way that I ran my business and my life. And now it's more like elephant/otter with like a splash of owl. So understand you can change, right? It's not about even what you are right now, but what do you want to be? And you just start going through the process. It's not going to happen overnight, right? It took you 20, 30, 40 years to become who you are.
We all need to be chameleons.
Yeah.
So what am I? Go on, tell me.
So I think you are clearly, based on that video stuff, otter, primarily, right? That's kind of clear to me. I don't even see that much. You may be like a closeted lion because you really do want to be successful and kind of have the helping Tristan and Nick grow LCA, right? So you kind of have that. But I see mostly otter with you, and you're a lender too. So you got some owl in you for sure. Interesting.
Good stuff. Awesome. Okay. So last thing, you've mentioned your course multiple times. Yeah. If anybody's interested, where can they find it?
Yeah. So just went live, I think today, 6-figure sales accelerator. Okay. 6-figure sales accelerator. And again, that's the goal, guys, is let's get people consistently on that level so we can start building a legacy, right, for ourselves and our families. It's not about the one-hit wonder. It's not about the weekend event. It's not about getting rich one year. It's about sustained personal growth, right? And learning the skills and processes and habits of the other 6- and 7-figure salespeople. That's what we have to emulate. So thanks for the plug, man.
You betcha, man. I appreciate your time today. As always, it was phenomenal to chat with you. This has been great information. I think everybody has got to take away from this and can go implement right now.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, brother.
Keep an eye out for the monkeys. Hopefully there'll be some later on today.
I'm looking forward to it, my friend. Looking forward to it. Have a great one. And thank you everyone for watching today.
See y'all soon. Thanks, everybody.